Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hour 18 of Notre Dame Day 2015. You're catching us at a great time. Yesterday evening, we kicked off a 29-hour global celebration of all things Notre Dame. So far, we've been sharing impressive stories of Notre Dame students, alumni, parents, friends, and fans from all across the globe. And we have more to come in a few minutes. My name is Justine Ward, Notre Dame class of 2012, and I'll be one of your anchors this hour. This is actually my second Notre Dame Day appearance, and I'm glad to be back. Notre Dame holds a special place in my heart, and I know in the hearts and minds of others across the globe. So being part of this new Notre Dame tradition, really exciting for me. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us. And if you're just now joining the fun, we hope you'll stay tuned for all of the outstanding stories on the docket. And I'm joined this hour by ABC 57 anchor Brian Dorman. And Brian, are you enjoying yourself? This is your first Notre Dame Day experience.
It is my first, and as you said, you were on last night. I was logged on last night, stayed up later than I should, watching the live link. It's a great time here today. We've seen so many remarkable people and heard so many very amazing stories. I've been in the South Bend news market now since January of 2011. I've really grown to love this area. South Bend, and the University of Notre Dame, of course, plays a huge role in the city of South Bend. Exciting to be here and tell the stories of the Notre Dame family. And speaking of stories, I'm especially excited this hour because we have a lot of great ones lined up.
That's right, Brian. I hope you're all ready for some fun, because in a few minutes, we'll be heading out to God Quad, where some of Notre Dame's most recognizable faces are in the dunk tank. We'll also be talking to quite a few academics this hour who are working on some really cool projects on campus. And later, we do have a special treat for you. The first female to earn an undergraduate degree from Notre Dame will be joining us.
And beyond the great stories we'll be telling today, we have something else going on that's very special. We'll be giving away $1 million over the course of this broadcast. You heard me right, $1 million.
That's right, Brian. And the coolest part is that you, the viewers, have total control of where that money will be distributed. So each time you log on to NotreDameDay.nd.edu and donate $10 or more, you'll be given 5 votes. The total votes cast during our Notre Dame Day broadcast for student clubs, residence halls, the academy, and so forth. It will actually determine what percentage of the $1 million they will receive. So that means that your $10 gift could possibly end up having an impact totaling $100 or more.
Yeah, so the more votes, of course, that you cast for your favorite academic unit, hall, team, or other organization during Notre Dame Day, the higher the percentage of the $1 million they will receive.
You got it, Brian. So let's take a moment to not only encourage folks to get online and donate, but to give a shout out to the donors who were kind enough to provide Notre Dame Day with this $1 million gift. This is amazing, and your generosity will help so many students out.
That's right, and I'm so excited to see just how things pan out. Let's get this show on the road.
Shall we?
Let's do it. All right. It seems like I've sunk all the way down to my chair here as well. Jackie Layer is out on God Quad right now, where I hear there is a dunk tank involved. Jackie, take us there.
That is certainly right, Brian. Right now we're outside. I'm here with finance professor Carl Ackerman. He's actually going to be the next person that will be sitting in the dunk tank for all the students to come on out, and any of the other faculty as well, to take their turn and to splash him into the dunk tank. We already have Sarah back there. She's already in the dunk tank, and she's one of the assistant coaches to Notre Dame women's lacrosse. But Carl, first, how'd you sign up for this?
I actually volunteered. I heard it was going on, and I'm a dunk tank veteran. Probably participated a few dozen times and have all my taunts ready to go, something I really enjoy participating in. I also know they have a lot of difficulty getting people when the weather's really cold, and I'm also always happy to participate under those circumstances as well. I can do anything for half an hour.
There you go. But also how the weather turned out today. Has there been another time where it's been colder than this, or is this the coldest you felt for, say, going in the dunk tank?
Yeah, great question. Actually, my first dunk tank here at Notre Dame, I participated over at the baseball field many, many years ago. That was 16 years ago. It was my first semester here, and it was actually below freezing on that day, and it was in March. And it was 3 hours altogether, and it was so cold that they had arranged for 10-minute shifts for every person. None of the other dunk tank people showed up, so I actually ended up participating for 3 full hours, and little did I know the person running it then was Chuck Lennon, the former head of the Alumni Association. So that was a real treat to get to know Chuck even before I knew who he was.
Wow, that's incredible. So today, temperatures are still into the lower 50s right now. Sunshine a little bit better than what you saw for the first one that you did back 16 years ago. So good luck today taking on the dunk tank in about a couple minutes or so. But right now, we're going to let some students take their part in throwing. Go ahead. Oh! That was absolutely perfect. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
All right, thanks, Jackie. Try to stay dry out there. And I'm pleased to be joined by Scott Appleby, the newly appointed Dean of the Keough School of Global Affairs and a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. And Dean Appleby, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Yes, and this is the first new school on campus here at Notre Dame in almost a century. Yes. So what is Notre Dame hoping to say about the study of global affairs, or how are they hoping to emerge in this new field?
That's a great question, because people want to know, why is Notre Dame going to contribute to a dozen great international and global affairs schools? What are we going to add? And the simple answer is religion and culture and history. Let me explain. We've conducted development since World War II in a fairly narrow technical direction, where we ask about material growth and economics. We haven't taken as much account of the societies in which we're working, their culture, their religion, their ethical systems. And so Notre Dame is very good at understanding religion, culture, society, which is so important to authentic development.
And when you think about Notre Dame's growing global presence, and especially touching on Father Hesburgh's passing within the past few months, what do you think this school will say about Notre Dame and that presence and living up to Father Hesburgh's legacy?
Father Hesburgh had a vision that he implemented 30 years ago, in which he created these institutes that are connected, that are dedicated to peace building, peace and justice, development and democratization, and human rights. He saw these as all interrelated and linked. And now in the school, they'll be working together, because in the real world, we don't have a Department of Peace and Conflict and Development. These things coexist and bump up against one another. So we want to integrate the study of development, conflict resolution, human rights, governance, in a way that reflects the real problems out there in the world, and Notre Dame wants to be on the cutting edge of solving those problems.
And reflecting the Notre Dame mission as well.
Indeed.
So what type of student would want to work in global affairs or be attracted to this program?
Global Affairs is one of the most popular majors for undergraduates in the country right now, and it's increasingly popular for graduate students. Why? Because everyone's plugged in, tuned in to all the creative possibilities with entrepreneurship in development, in peace building, in human rights, and they see the use of technology, the incredible partnerships that are happening with the private sector, with government, with the nonprofit world, and Notre Dame wants to bring into that world a conversation about values and purpose and meaning and ethics, which is right below the surface, but which people are not talking about, and makes a big difference to how they actually operationalize their vision of development.
And you talked about some of the other schools who have these programs, and some of them have had them and they're well established. So what does Notre Dame do coming out of the gate to establish ourselves as a force in global affairs?
What's important is that, first of all, we hire some very prominent professors who have expertise in policy studies, in practice, in the broad worlds of development, broadly understood. We really need to establish ourselves as serious researchers in areas where Notre Dame has not yet excelled. And the world of policy studies, translating values into concrete policies to reduce poverty, to improve governance, to unplug institutions that don't work and help improve them, all that has to be done at a high level of excellence. So we need to make a statement right away that we're bringing the very best faculty and students to Notre Dame to study these issues.
Make a statement right away.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dean. I know we are all very excited for the first day that the new Keough opens its doors to students. We are going to go to a quick break. We'll be back after this.
There is a place where people fight for what they believe in, teaching those who want to change the world, strengthening the weak in faraway lands, bringing hope where miracles are needed, offering ethical leadership and a commitment to research service, and social justice. The place where they fight is the University of Notre Dame.
We are.
We are.
We are the Fighting Irish.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
I'm most excited for this next interview. I'm joined now by Professor Alan Seabaugh, who's the director of the Low Energy Systems Technology Center, of course often referred to as the LEAST Center, and a professional of electrical engineering. Dr. Seabaugh, welcome to the program. Thank you for making time for us. Appreciate it. Tell us a little bit, sir, about where you're from and how you landed here at Notre Dame.
Well, I'm born of Midwestern parents, grew up in, was born in Long Island, New York, moved to Kansas City, lived there for a while, back to Virginia. Went to University of Virginia, where I got a degree in electrical engineering, and then moved to Texas Instruments, worked for industry for a while, Raytheon, then joined Notre Dame about 15 years ago.
Wow, and Alan, it's my understanding that the LEAST Center has the largest grant ever awarded to the university. Explain for those who are watching here this afternoon what low energy systems technology means.
So I can't say much about low energy technology without saying something about the transistor, which is something maybe people think has been invented long ago and hasn't changed much since then. But a transistor is something we have today in our phones and our TVs and our cameras here. It's been for the last 60 years or so, it's been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And you also know that, maybe you know that one of the things you don't want to do in a transistor is generate heat. You have a laptop, you have a cell phone, you really don't want it getting hot in your pocket. That's a manifestation of some of the limitations of current transistor technology. People have been making it smaller and faster and denser, so we're having to deal with this heat problem. We don't want heat, so this center is about trying to make much more efficient transistors.
And if we look in the future and we dream about some of the devices that could come out of the technology that we've already developed here at the University of Notre Dame, what are some of those devices of the future? What may they look like?
Well, my industry colleagues would probably cringe a little bit, but being a university professor, I can speculate, so that's kind of fun. I'm unconstrained by economics or really reality of implementation, but one can imagine if you can really start to lower the energy in these kinds of devices that you could start really doing much more making technology without batteries. We can scavenge energy from the environment. So you could imagine if you had a medical implant and you have some sort of pacemaker or something, if it didn't have to have a battery, you wouldn't have to open somebody back up and put the battery back in. But you can think about this even more widely. You could imagine we could put sensors on bridges that would be powered by the vibrations of the bridges that would then be able to communicate back with some database that would allow us to monitor the safety of the bridge. But you can keep going with that to speculations about health, environment, and safety.
One more quick question, if I may. You know, I know you're also involved in the world of ND Nano. Can you tell us a little bit about any exciting things that are going on in the world of nanotechnology here?
Yeah, well, you know, ND Nano is really the originator of this this center. It's a Notre Dame group that about 75 professors that gets together across disciplines: biology, chemistry, physics, computer science, all getting together to try to think about what we can really do together to solve problems, to be a force for good. So you'll see that there's many possibilities that could come from that kind of collaboration.
Professor, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for stopping by.
Okay, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, well, we have much more coming up right after this quick break. Stay with us.
My grandfather loves to fish. There's nothing he enjoys more than being out on the water. He always tells me that the big one's still out there. But now he's losing the ability to do what he loves. My grandfather is going blind.
The goal of our research is to be able to restore sight to those individuals who have lost their vision. So there's no proliferating.
Notre Dame professor David Hyde conducts groundbreaking research using adult stem cells from zebrafish. His work, in collaboration with other Notre Dame scientists working with adult stem cells, aims to discover therapies and cures for diseases and conditions such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and blindness.
We focus our work on zebrafish because these stem cells, which reside throughout the zebrafish, have the natural capacity to regenerate specific tissues and organs, unlike humans and other mammals. If we can understand how this regeneration process occurs within zebrafish, we can find ways to induce a similar sort of response in humans.
As a Catholic university, Notre Dame is committed to cutting-edge research that respects the dignity of human life from conception to death and does not engage in human embryonic stem cell research.
The work that Professor David Hyde does is just one example of our innovative approach to research. We believe that Notre Dame's groundbreaking discoveries will be the future of stem cell research.
I'm just really proud that I can be a part of Notre Dame and the fact that they're helping do this research on blindness, especially when it's affecting people like my grandfather.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to restore vision.
We are the Fighting Irish.
And welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Brian Dorman. Right now we are honored to be joined by Dr. Robert Bernhard, Vice President for Research here at the University of Notre Dame. Dr. Bernhard, welcome to Notre Dame Day. Pleasure to meet you, my friend.
Thank you, Brian.
Tell us about all the exciting things that are happening right now here at the University of Notre Dame.
Well, the university is really advancing its research programs. We've had the great opportunity with Father Jenkins' presidency and the support of the Board of Trustees to really start to move our research programs forward. The research programs have been part of the university for a long time. It goes back to Father Soren's declaration that we want this university to be a powerful force for good in the world. And throughout our history, we've done research and made significant contributions. But over the last 10 years, we really worked to advance those programs significantly.
Yeah, and Dr. Research has been very important here, as you mentioned from the very beginning. Tell us why research is so important here to the university.
Well, increasingly universities are being asked to contribute their knowledge and understanding to the great questions of society and the great challenges that face the world. So you see universally around the world that universities are now being asked to be a part of the discussions on the big issues. The university is stepping up to that, again, with our mission to be a powerful force for good. So,
yeah. And explain why Notre Dame is so rightly situated to expand its research enterprise at this time.
Well, a part of it is the resources that are available to us. Yeah. We've got great faculty, we've got great students. We've had the opportunity to start to align all that with strategic purpose. In addition, we have a unique mission at the university, and it sort of is resonant with a lot of things that now are big issues that are coming forward. So being a uniquely Catholic university with a unique mission gives us a chance to really be a contributor on important questions.
And tell us about some of the areas of research that you are most excited about.
Well, we've made major advances and been very competitive in the energy world, in the nanotechnology world, as you just heard from Alan Seabaugh, in global health and so forth. But the things that probably excite me most are the things that are happening that are really uniquely Catholic, that are happening. You're probably going to hear about the Laboratory for Economic Opportunity, where the university's economists are starting to look at poverty in the U.S. We also have a Notre Dame Initiative for Global Development, where we're looking at world poverty and development. And it gives us a chance to really make important impact in those areas.
And my last question, if I may, just beyond the student experiences, education, and contributions to scholarships in various fields, what makes research such an important part of the University of Notre Dame?
Well, it's our impact on the world. We're going to start working in ways that help to inform policy around national poverty issues and policy for global development and foreign aid. But we're also doing things locally, like the Notre Dame Turbo Machinery Laboratory, where we're now partnering with the city to help build out the economic development in this area. So it's a broad range of things, and things we're very excited to be able to contribute.
Yeah. And your thoughts on Notre Dame Day and just being able to be part of
this? This is terrific. There's a lot of excitement about it. We're pleased from wearing my Notre Dame Vice President for Research hat, that so many of our research programs are getting an opportunity to be spotlighted and have an opportunity to tell their stories. It's terrific.
Yeah, I know a lot about the university, but I've learned so much today. Doctor, thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Pleasure to meet you.
Right.
And Justine?
Brian, I want to let you know we had a goal going into this to have 10,000 donors, and we just passed that goal. So keep them coming, everybody. We're very excited about that. And it's a story not many people know. In 1971, Notre Dame and St. Mary's were in negotiations to merge into one university. Under the pretense that all would go well, one St. Mary's student was given the opportunity to enroll in Notre Dame's business school a semester before the university officially became co-ed. Now, when the merger deal went south, Mary Bliley was told her credits wouldn't transfer back to St. Mary's, and she found herself in quite the situation. And I'll actually let her tell the rest of that story. Mary, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Group of people. I feel honored that I'm part of the group. I'll get back to my story. In 1970, I transferred to Notre Dame as a business major. Then December 1st of my senior year, the merger, as you said, was called off. And so I went immediately to Dean Raymond's office, who is dean of the business school, and said, what is going to happen to me? He replied, don't worry, we are going to take care of you. I went home to the family ranch in Montana. I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and told my father that the merger was off. And he said, where are you going to graduate? And I said, don't worry, they will take care of me.
And Notre Dame, they do. They take care of their students. My mom's actually the oldest of 7 as well. And my dad, actually also a Notre Dame alum, he was here at the university when that transition started to take place. So did the male students on campus realize you were an actual Notre Dame student?
You know, Justine, I don't think they ever thought anything of me one way or the other. I was just one of the kids in the business program, and we all worked together, and they were great. And, during that time, don't forget, we had that whole cloud of the Vietnam War, which everybody was really concerned with.
All right, and I understand you had a conversation with the late Father Ted Hesburgh, and a really interesting topic, what prayers go to heaven first?
Oh, this is a great story. In 2013, I had some health issues, and Father Ted... and then I was going to Notre Dame in April. So my good friend Ann Thompson lit a candle for me at the grotto. And my husband was at Notre Dame that weekend, and he lit a candle, Ann lit a candle at the Vatican, and my husband lit a candle at the grotto. So I was back at campus in April, and I said, Father Ted, which prayers get to heaven first, grotto candles or Vatican candles? And he looked at me and said, Mary, grotto candles go directly to the Blessed Mother. But Justine, you know what makes me feel so good now is that he's with her.
Yeah,
and he's praying, and he's praying for us. So I feel even stronger knowing he's up there praying for all of us.
Yes, he's definitely watching over everybody here at Notre Dame. And Mary, you really paved the way for people like me to graduate from Notre Dame. Take me to that moment when you walked across that stage as a graduate of Notre Dame.
It was one of the proudest moments in my life. I can still feel my heart just pounding like it was across the stage. And I earned my Notre Dame degree. I was so proud.
And what do you tell to women paving the way maybe in their career or their field, their advice for moving forward after college?
That's interesting. I just say work with the alumni, and you have such a strong support. I always felt, I was in the investment banking business, and I always felt totally prepared for the rigors of the financial markets and investment banking. I believe that our Notre Dame education prepares you to do any career that you want, and that alumni will support you. I worked in Europe. I worked in the United States. The alumni will always be there no matter where you are.
And Notre Dame, did it play a role in your success? You talked about the Alumni Association and just the love that is going to Notre Dame and having that connection.
Yes, I totally agree. And now with the young, female graduates like yourself, it makes me so proud that I got to be the first one, and that now all the wonderful, wonderful opportunities that you guys have and that you're taking advantage of.
All right, Mary, thank you so much for joining us. And now we're actually going to head out to Notre Dame Day reporter Brandon Pope. And Brandon, where are you at right now?
Hey, Mary, still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks, Justine. I'm at DeBartolo Performing Arts Center, or DPOC as the students call it here at Notre Dame, with 3 Notre Dame students who are going to be performing for us today. Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Doing good, doing good. Okay, so tell me a little bit about you guys, your name, and where you guys are from.
Hey, my name's Alex Severn. I'm a sophomore from Evansville, Indiana. This is Sonia. She's a sophomore, and Gavin is a senior. And for today, we'll be playing an excerpt from the first movement of Beethoven's Opus 11 Clarinet Trio.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds awesome. Well, I'll let you guys get to it, then. I'm looking forward to a great performance, okay? Break a leg. All right. Hey, that was awesome. Wow. Good job, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and happy Notre Dame Day 2015. All right. Well, I'm going to toss it back to the studio. Brian, what's going on over there?
Yeah. Hey, Brandon. Love that performance. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be joined here in studio by Jennifer Tank, professor of biological sciences at the University of Notre Dame College of Science. Jennifer, welcome here to Notre Dame Day. We were chatting during that performance a little bit. I think I could sit here and chat with you all day.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I understand that you're the interim director of the Notre Dame Environmental Change Initiative here at the university. Explain what that initiative is all about.
Yeah, the Environmental Change Initiative, we call it the ECI, is a group of about 40 faculty at the university that are focused around some of the great environmental challenges of our day. Invasive species, climate change, land use change, and how those huge pressures are influencing the environment. And so we're working across colleges, College of Science, Arts and Letters, Engineering, and Architecture to sort of solve some of those grand challenges.
You know, one thing I was really interested about here is that I understand that you're researching agricultural conservation practices that would prevent what's called the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. Can you explain what the dead zone is and how we go about trying to fix it?
Yeah, so the dead zone occurs every year around June in the Gulf of Mexico, and it basically is an area of water that there's no oxygen. The fish and the shellfish in that water die. And it's actually coming from agricultural runoff of fertilizers way up here in the Corn Belt. And so what we're trying to do is work to find practices that work for farmers that keeps the fertilizer that they buy on the land instead of letting it run off during, say, storm or snow melt into the waterways and head to the Gulf of Mexico. So that's kind of our goal.
Yeah, that sounds like a very large issue. It could be,
it's a big issue.
And how do you characterize an invasive species? You touched on that a bit. We've all seen the internet videos of fish that are jumping into people's boats. Is that the kind of thing that we're talking about?
Yeah, those are amazing videos.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of get addictive. You can go from one to one on YouTube. But those are Asian carps that are jumping as boats move through the water, and they think they jump because of the disturbance of the boat motor. There are a lot of different invasive species. Those are kind of the poster child for dramatic invasive species because they're actually a hazard to boaters, as well as sort of the environmental impacts that they have. But there are also invasive plants, things that you can see and can't see. And the idea at the ECI is to prevent invasive species from becoming established, prevent them from getting into these systems and really changing the way these ecosystems work.
And that's a problem close to home as well for us here when it comes to the Great Lakes.
Yeah,
Can you talk about
it is. Yeah, well, with the Asian carp, they're sort of moving up the Illinois River closer and closer. Some people say they may have already gotten into the Great Lakes. We're working at the ECI to develop early detection techniques that allows us to find out if before something hits that maybe there's 1 or 2 or 10 instead of only knowing they've gotten there when you see these huge environmental impacts. So it's kind of like detective work, only it's environmental detective work.
Right. And they get so large as well. I was over at the aquarium in Chicago recently, and they have them there in the exhibit, and all the kids are looking at them. They're huge.
Put them nose to nose with an Asian carp. Yeah, no, it's really good.
And staying on that topic, can you just explain where do they become? Where do they come from in the first place?
Well, invasions are usually inadvertent introductions. Asian carps were for the aquaculture trade down south for catfish farms. They were cleaning up algae as they go along the bottom and clean algae, and they got out accidentally into the rivers and streams. Other invasions can happen through ballast water from ships that they empty their ballast water into a marina or a harbor and accidentally introduce something new. It can happen when people dump out their aquaria. I mean, how many people have emptied their aquarium? The fish all die and they decide, oh, we're going to dump all these plants down the toilet.
Right.
Well, that's never a good choice because something that's not native can become established through those inadvertent introductions.
And that comes to my last question: is what can we do to make sure that we're not having a harmful effect on the environment?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ECI, we're trying through the research that we do is to provide tools for managers that can help prevent these types of introductions early on. But even, in your day-to-day life, just being responsible about, when you move, say, your kayak or your canoe or your boat from one lake to another, wash off the boat motor, get all those aquatic plants off the propellers or your canoe. If you're going, if you're fishing and you've got your waders on, make sure to wash your waders in between rivers and never dump your pets down the toilet. So those are just some of the things that just every day you can do to prevent invasions. Yeah.
Jennifer, a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here for ND Day.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was exciting.
Excellent. Let's check in now with Sarah. Sarah?
Well, next up, we have an exciting performance from Mariachi ND. Get ready, guys. This will be great. Well, the Notre Dame family certainly is talented. There's just one more example. And now we have Justine, who's on the couch with Dolly Duffy.
Hey, thank you, Sarah. I'm here now with the women behind the world's greatest alumni association. How is that for an intro, Dolly?
Well, that's a pretty big intro. I'm blessed to be working with the alumni that we have and the friends that are all across the world. So it's a great job. As a matter of fact, I often say I love my job so much that I might pay them to let me do it, but don't tell my boss.
Okay, it'll be our little secret, all right?
All right.
But you know, people all the time talk about the power of Notre Dame's Alumni Association, the power of having the Notre Dame name. What does that really mean?
Well, I would say that we have the most amazing volunteers. We have 270 Notre Dame clubs worldwide, 220 of them in the United States. That coverage alone, and they always have the best events, and they are always doing so many different activities.
And you left a successful career in business, so what drove you to come back to Notre Dame?
Well, first of all, I was passionate about Notre Dame. You can't go here without feeling a tug back. And then when this opportunity opened up, and to follow in the steps of someone like Chuck Lennon, who built a great organization, I couldn't say no.
And talk about some of the things the Alumni Association is doing and working on right now.
So we're getting ready, obviously, for reunion. We just came off of one of the most successful leadership conferences we've ever had, and now we'll get ready for reunion. We'll have probably 4,000 people. We've got a huge Mother's Day initiative that we'll launch for the first time ever. We'll be broadcasting live streaming it live, a prayer service from the grotto. We've built a 41 by 41 foot heart that will float in the reflecting pool, where our students will be able to put a flower in honor of their mothers.
Oh, that's very sweet. Yeah, you've been in charge of a lot of major initiatives through the Alumni Association, if you want to touch on some of those.
Well, I would say one of them is ND Women Connect, as we try to get our women more deeply involved in kind of the volunteerism and the activities of Notre Dame. That's been a very big one.
And what would you say to students here to get those connections in while they're here and establish those while they're on campus?
Well, you know, if you think about the questions that are asked when you meet somebody from Notre Dame, the first question is always, what year did you graduate? The second one is, what dorm are you in? Build those networks, build them before you leave here, because those are going to be long-lasting friendships and great business opportunities among each other.
Yeah, and anything you would add on the job market right now for ND alumni?
Well, I would say that, you know, we do a lot of things at the Alumni Association to help our alums out, whether you've been out 2 years or 20 years. So connect back to the Alumni Association and let us help.
Anything you want to add, Dolly?
I'm thrilled that Notre Dame Day has been such a huge success, and I just want to thank everyone for all that they've done.
All right, thank you so much, Dolly. I'm glad I got to sit down and chat with you, and happy Notre Dame Day.
Thank you for that opportunity.
And we do have a video right now from the Alumni Association, so let's take a look at that.
I never thought it was a task. I always thought it was a privilege and an honor to be able to do the class reporting. It's permitted me to be sort of the spirit of the class.
He's worked hard every time he writes the column, and he wants to make sure it's a good column, and I think he's a perfectionist when it comes to it.
His tenacity, he just won't quit. He just stays with whatever he does. He's loyal to it and stays with it. They're like magnets, and they just stay together. And he does not like he depends on her. He does, but he doesn't. It's just mutually beneficial. It's a wonderful marriage, just what everything should be.
We met at tea dance at St. Mary's College in the 40s. We had lots of good memories because we went to all the dances that year when he was graduating, and so we have lovely, lovely memories.
The only way I got on that football field was to be a cheerleader. Practically any reunion we would have, I would still be able to lead our classmates in the Notre Dame Victory March. I can still even probably show you without that microphone. So I can go and I do the cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. Wake up the echoes cheering her name, while her loyal sons are marching onward to victory. Without a leap.
So here's what we have. Every year, we name a volunteer of the year.
All righty.
And your work on behalf of your class, but as a representative of all class secretaries, has earned you the Notre Dame Volunteer of the Year for this year.
My goodness. I hope that we'll find room for this someplace around here. All righty.
Well, thank you for everything that you've done for Notre Dame.
Thank you. I just hope I can continue doing what we have to do. And if you'll be sure and let me know the due dates of the class column, why I'll certainly have something under the year of 1940.
All right, welcome back everyone to Notre Dame Day 2015. My name is Jonathan. We're here in the social media lounge on the first floor of the Fortune Student Center. Amazing news. We have eclipsed the 10,000 gift mark thanks to everyone in the Notre Dame family that's come out these first few hours, made a gift, cast your votes for the areas at Notre Dame that mean the most to you. This is a tremendous milestone, and it's one that we could only get together. In 1879, when the main building burned down, Father Soren knew that the only way we were going to be able to rebuild was to come together and to have the collective power of the Notre Dame family come together and rebuild in a time of need. That's what we're celebrating today, and that kind of power is still evidenced by the fact that over 10,000 gifts have been made in just a few short hours. We still have 11 hours of the broadcast left to go. Click that gold give and vote button, cast your 5 votes, and now we got to start thinking strategy. Obviously, we still have Frisbee here and the Glee Club. They are neck and neck around the 1,500 vote mark. But for all the areas of interest, the strategy now becomes you've cast your vote, you've made your gift, you've cast your 5 votes. Rather than, say, making another gift, in which case you'd only get 1 extra vote, the key now for you is to go out and find other people to make their first gift so they can get those 5 votes. That's been the whole concept behind this year's giving and voting structure, is that the more new people you can find to get those 5 votes in the door, 5, 5, 5, 5, that's going to be the way to really boost your vote totals in a quick way. So we encourage you to reach out into those networks, get your friends and family on board, make sure their 5 votes are all accounted for, and watch your areas move up the leaderboard as part of our $1 million Challenge Fund competition. Sacred Music is hanging in there with 900 gifts. St. Ed's still leading the residence halls with 1,200 votes, $33,000 at the contest ended right now. Obviously, the chatter has really picked up on social media. The lounge is so busy. We have Urban Swirl frozen yogurt here. We have Grounds and Hounds coffee. The students are in and out. They're getting involved with social media. And now let's go to Sarah, who's going to kind of give us our overview. Sarah.
Well, Jonathan, thanks so much. We've got the photo poll here, and I've got the results from the last poll. It was, what is your favorite Alumni Association event? And we could choose between reunion or Football Friday, the tailgates at the Eck. And would you believe we had our second tie? It was a dead heat. And so I just have to say again, your votes absolutely count. So get on and let's do this next photo poll. So the question is, which is your favorite ND webcam? And these are the 2 views. Now you can see these all day, every day, and it's just a really great way to connect with campus. So your choices are ND Memorial or ND Dome. So go on and vote, and let's see if we can have another tie or maybe a tiebreaker. So as I was saying, this is just really a great way to connect with campus. You can log on and see these anytime. And now we're going to have another webcam, and that location is going to be revealed in the next hour. Of course, you can also connect via social media. So let's see what's been going on. Oh, here we've got Dolly. We've had a lot of activity from the Notre Dame clubs around the world who tuned in to watch Dolly, and we're really actually grateful for her support. So I thought that was really lovely. We've got Club of Miami. What are the 5 areas you love most? Jake Wagner, 29 hours of broadcast, some familiar faces, some new Notre Dame faces. Notre Dame Club of Portland, it looks like. We've also had a lot from ND Science. Lots of people reacting to Jen Tank's interview and talking about the Environmental Change Initiative. We've had the Nanovic Institute. We've had architecture. And then, of course, we've also got a lot of people talking about that dunk tank. So the person getting dunked is changing every half hour, so that's pretty exciting. It's a little bit cold out there, so please show your support for all of our Notre Dame friends and family who are in the dunk tank today. Lots of folks talking about the women's lacrosse coach, Christine Halfpenny. So lots of action, lots of fun, inside and outside. I'm glad I'm inside. Let's go over, we have not been for a while, to the map. So the map, of course, shows our social media activity, and it's been heating up, so these dark spots, of course, show where we've been really active. Love to see this. So we've hit Texas, I think, for the first time, and then also the Pacific Northwest. So if you're out there, if you're watching, put something out there on social media, and we'll see if we can light up your area on the map. So thanks so much, and once again, we'll be back live at the top of the hour.